So, aside from James Cleverley's incompetence in spelling the word dependent, there are three immigration stories that have turned up today. One is about James Cleverley saying that care workers will no longer be able to bring dependents over to the UK when they come to work for us for a pittance. And I suspect there will be some sort of plan so that they will not be able to do anything other than work for the care working team that sponsored them, and they will be effectively a slave. And when it comes to slavery, there's also the story of the woman who ate a sandwich, or ate the ends of a sandwich that had been left over by her boss. And I think she's taking the case to court. I hope she is. I hope she's going to get support. I would certainly give her support if I had the opportunity, because it's outrageous. It's like something out of Dickens. She is being attacked for nibbling leftovers. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's as if we've suddenly got some sort of Downton Abbey going on here, and I'm sort of speechless about that one, and I'm sort of shocked. I suppose I should give up being shocked, because there's no real reason. It doesn't serve any great purpose, and so many of these stories are coming in under the immigration under the immigration headline. The whole idea of today in Parliament, we've laid an order to ban overseas care workers from bringing dependents. Just one part of our plan to deliver the biggest ever cut in migration. So you can come here, you can take care of my elderly aunt, my grandmother, but you can't have a family of your own. You have to be entirely devoted to my family. It is Downton Abbey, is it not? And I think it's fundamentally wrong, and it's a form of. I think it's a form of slavery, and I'm slightly shocked by it, and I'm slightly shocked about the tuna sandwich as well. Why would anybody want to eat tuna sandwiches? Yeah, just distasteful. Grab the occasional marzipan ball, but tuna sandwich, no, I draw the line at a tuna sandwich. But it's a law firm that sacked a cleaner for eating a discarded sandwich. It's cruelty, and it's crazy. It's Victorian, hanging a hungry child for eating an apple. Isn't this the basis of the beginning of the film of Aladdin? And it's imperial, and it's disgraceful. The other thing which I thought I would like to talk about before we get to the end of the day is VAT, the threat of VAT on private education, and the loss of charitable status for private schools. Well, the big schools like Eton and Harrow and Winchester and so on are not going to be affected greatly by this. Some of the smaller schools are already looking at expanding their reach to foreign students, who of course have the opportunity of studying in Britain, in Europe, in America, in Canada. And this is a market that we have hitherto done very well at. And we're simply going to make more effort, I suppose, to do better at educating other people's children. And that, in turn, I hope, will act as a form of soft diplomacy about the values that we project. The problem is that most children are going to come over here from China, from Japan, from India, maybe, though that market seems to be dying, for sixth form and for university. And they're not going to be coming over here earlier when they might, for example, be able to embrace arts-based subjects. So for the most part, what we're going to see is a destruction of the arts, particularly when it comes to university. Now, why should we care about this? We should care about this particularly because of the growth in tutoring, home tutoring, to help meet the needs of children doing exams at 11 plus, at GCSE, even at A level, and parents feel that they want to supplement their children's education, particularly at state schools. And I think they're right. But adding VAT to the school fees in these big schools will also add VAT to the tutoring and will put regular tutoring out of the reach of many families who at the moment rely on it. I've done a bit of it myself, and I think it's a shame. I think it's a foolish ideological knee-jerk response, and I think if the Labour Party wishes to do this, it needs to look very carefully about whether or not it can make some sort of allowance for that home tutoring system, because our schools are not up to the job. And I'm not talking here specifically about state schools, I'm talking about schools in general. I've worked in state schools, I've worked in private schools, and certainly the schools I've been into recently, I felt are all wanting. And why are they wrong? Why are they so much in need? Why are they failing? Because they've been swamped with bureaucracy and with middle management, with ambitious middle managers. There we are. We got it out in the end. Who understand the bureaucracy, but who are vicious in the way that they throw their weight around, and they make other members of staff miserable. And the profession is losing gifted teachers by the day, not even by the month or the year, by the day. And the people who are coming into the profession, there are some plans to fast track students into the profession who have very limited qualifications. Now, what is that going to do for exam standards and for those gifted students who want and need more? There just isn't enough opportunity online. I'm certainly prepared to produce more online content for students to access, but for that I need to work out how to subdivide my channel so that so there's a little bit more clarity about what is educational and what is just political guff. And I shall get round to doing that. But it's hard work for parents who want their children to succeed and who don't have a lot of money to invest in that. And there isn't the time frame, and I don't think there's the will, and I don't think there's the skills to improve our education system overnight. So we are in a position where we have to depend on private tuition. And if we destroy that, rather than everything being improved, everything is going to be brought down. And we're at a time where the present government is crucifying our foreign education programs. It's which are very good and brought in a lot of money. It's destroying the that sort of diplomatic soft diplomacy which worked by letting students come to the UK and then work for a while with the skills that we've taught them before going back and happily promoting Britain. Now we want them out of the door as soon as they're paid, and they pay more, and they know it, and they're treated appallingly, and we grab the money from them whether we actually deliver the goods or not. As COVID demonstrated, you know, everything's online, and we're still demanding the full fees. Outrageous! Outrageous! And I don't see that we can sustain this level of brutality. We need a better education system. We need an education system which is significantly more flexible and which equips people for ordinary life. And that's not about training everybody to manage computers or to build computers. One of the delights of being in education for so long is you look back and you think, well, actually, the skills that I've learned, many of the skills I've learned were taught to me when I was studying subjects which would probably even be dismissed as Mickey Mouse subjects, like theology. I learned how to analyze a text. I learned how to identify who was telling the truth and who was not telling the truth. I learned how to detect a lie, which was a very useful skill, which I've used again and again. And I've since learnt a lot more practical things about computing, about animation, about filmmaking, about goat herding, about reconditioning oil barrels, and so on. There are practical skills which you learn simply because you've learnt the discipline of how to complete a job. And I think that discipline is taught. It doesn't matter what your subject is. You learn that discipline if you apply yourself to it. And that's something that I think isn't fully understood. When it comes to A-levels and when it comes to a BA, an initial degree, the subject doesn't really matter. What matters is the quality of the learning, the quality of the teaching, and the skill sets of discipline, of getting your work in on time, of applying yourself to an intellectual regime. You can do that whether you're studying knitting or whether you're studying mathematics. There should be the same sort of skill set being taught and being learnt. And to dismiss one subject as a Mickey Mouse subject and another subject as a STEM subject is to misjudge the quality of learning.